Peasant Productions presents the math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. I'm going to have a little bit of fun here in the sense that looking at the idea how humans like to wait for Superman to come rescue them. They'd rather get down on their knees and pray to Jesus than get up and get out of the way of the flood or the lava, whatever, okay? So we're going to discuss the idea of lifeboats, and you kind of have to stop and think about the idea of being out in the middle of the ocean. You're on a ship, it's going down, you got to get in those lifeboats, and then what do? You sit there and wait for somebody to rescue you. You have to hope that you're in one of those lifeboats where they put water storage in there and food storage and a few things, medical kits and stuff like that, so that you actually have something, But other than that, you're thousands of miles from shore. Yes, you can row it, people have done that. But you generally don't have any food or water or anything like that, so what are you doing? You're waiting for somebody to come rescue you. Yeah, you're waiting for Superman or Jesus or Allah or, Bozo the Clown for that matter, okay? You're waiting for somebody to come because you don't have enough with you to do anything for yourself. And this is really kind of illogical when you stop and think about, some of these accidents and stuff happen and people are literally at sea for, days or weeks before anybody finds them. But in space, it's the other way around, okay? If you end up having something happen and you have to bail into a lifeboat, your tour ship just blew up or had a meteorite go through the middle of it or whatever and completely wipe it out, then it's going to be weeks to months before anybody gets there, okay? Therefore, you want lifeboats, and I'm kind of playing around the thing here, but you want something like, you want lifeboats that are going to facilitate being alive, and also facilitate the idea of trying to get somewhere. So the idea of a basic little kind of a canister shape, it's hooked up to the starships in various places. It's not, you got to go run to A section to get in a lifeboat. No, the lifeboats are placed all over your ships. It's illogical to have a row of lifeboats on the sides where everybody's got to go all the way through all these chambers that have probably been decompressed to the max, so they these areas are in decompression. So you can't use that idea, okay? Again, this is the paradigm shift, okay? Stop thinking along the lines of Star Wars and Star Trek, and where things orderly happen and they have computers that shift, these the electronic fields around that keep even air inside of them and stuff like that. When you get to that stage of having that stuff, fine, and you can worry about it. But between now and then, you got to think about stuff logically. So the idea of having lifeboats all over your ship isn't going to change. But having lifeboats that have their own propulsion are like a rat, that they can go out and grab another asteroid and continue to feed their reaction engines, okay? The reaction blast engines, RBEs, RB engines, okay? And you need fuel for that, okay? You can sit there with just a basic canister type shape. You can have two ends of it that are, going to start rotating and give you a centrifugal gravity. You can have the two ends rotating so that you have, centrifugal gravity. You have some place to go and exercise and keep yourself healthy while you're out there for months in space. Okay? If you break down over by Mars, and they got to send somebody from Earth, you're looking at 5 or 6 weeks to get over there, okay? Yes, my rats with their constant propulsion engines, you can get someplace very quickly. They theoretically could be approaching the speed of light type of thing that Elon Musk thinks he's going to do with some kind of ion engine, where he's got this real special little thing that's going to fire little ions out the back of it or something like that. I forget what that design was, but it was kind of amusing to see it, especially with the what was it, like $4 or $5 billion to build it all on Earth and then try and get it up into space. But you have these two end things on your canister. Okay, you've got your rat system where you got the little engine sticking, the reaction engine sticking out. You have fore and aft. The reason for this is because it's a lifeboat. You don't want the person inside to have to try and figure out how to do and when to do a flip. So they just simply, they've got it, and at some point in time they realize, okay, shift forward, the braking engine type of a thing, and they just start shooting, blasting out the other end. And the rest of the canister they don't have to care about. They don't have to try and compute, tell the computers to, manipulate it around little loops and all that. In that centrifugal gravity area, you have room to grow plants, which are both food. You have room for planting food. You have the ability to put some like blue-green algae in there, so spirulina algae, so that you are creating food. Which that blue-green spirulina algae is a protein source. It also is going to do a rather large job of CO2 to oxygen conversion for you, because you just bubble your air through your water, and it's going to pull a lot of the CO2 off and allow the conversion. You got the water going through, you've got the energy conversion going on, you've got the conversion to food, you got the conversion to air that you can breathe. You're a little bit less limited on saying, hey, you are only going to be able to survive for 3 weeks in this canister, and Earth is 6 weeks away. Okay? You have living space in that and all that sort of thing. And the basic idea was, you've got this setup here where there's an opening here, drops you straight into the center of your life. Probably not going to have any kind of gravity system. If the ship is being abandoned, we'll have to figure most of that power stuff is off. Yes, I know Star Trek and Star Wars and all the other sci-fis, they've always got the gravity. The last thing that ever goes on them is the gravity, yes. The whole thing is that you need to be able to drop in fast and then just simply either manually shut the door or hit the button and it shuts. You've got your capacity. You hit the magnetic lock release, the thing drops off. And you use a little bit of blast to just pop yourself down and out of the way, and then you hit the regular reaction, RB engines in gear, and you're off and out of the way of the ship in case it explodes and makes a few million small to micro meteorites to come in your direction. The thing is you want all this to be livable and doable. You can put 2 nuclear power supplies in there so that you have the redundancy factor. You've got both ends being powered. You have all of the things you need by using two nuclear power plants, which are, like I said, they're satellite size. They're not huge. They are guaranteed to run for 15, 20 years without issues. So they're going to be sitting dormant in these things, and you go in there and you pull the rods and you light them up, and they start producing power within a few minutes. Not a big deal. You got something to go somewhere. You've got your farming. You've got the ability to distill water, so you can pee in a cup, put the pee in a distiller, and hey, the water comes off is drinkable water. Okay, all the waste material that was in your pee is in the bottom of the distilling bucket. Okay. It is that safe to go ahead and drink distilled water. The only thing in distillation process that does not get cleaned out is radioactive material. So that's why I gave out my design of the solar water distilling system that you can build out of debris from an earthquake or a hurricane or a flash flood or anything like that. You can go make yourself something that immediately starts being able to produce water. You make, you know, a size number of these or a big enough size of these that it produces the amount of water you need in a day. And from, you know, the next day on, you're basically collecting water. It's not an issue. That's why I say, you need to get out of the paradigm thought or the non-paradigm thought of everything has to be done to make profit, and you better start thinking that this is your profit. Being able to get something done that's not going to kill you. Okay, and that's why I say lifeboats have a whole different philosophy, and the shuttles that I'm telling you to make are lifeboats. That's why I say if you can make a shuttle that is sufficient enough to get into space and then go be an internet relay link, because it's not sufficiently good enough to be using for a whole lot of else, you're still up there in space, you're transferring to something else, and what you came up in is being used someplace else where it doesn't matter that it wasn't that great for human life. Okay? If you don't get off the planet, you're dead. If you blow up on the way to getting out there, you're dead. There's not a whole lot of difference. When you're dead, you're dead. Like I said, the bottom line is when you get in this situation on the planet, you got to stop waiting for Superman. You got to stop waiting for Jesus. You got to get off your knees and stop praying. And start taking a look at what's available to you. Stop waiting for Superman. Start thinking for yourself. Start thinking independently, because you're going to get cut off. The systems are failing, and nobody's got an answer for what to do about it. Okay?